One of the most common things that we hear is that people are involved in hit and run accidents and they think they don't have options. And so today we're going to talk about how if you're involved in a hit and run accident, that you can still recover damages. And I'll start off by saying that being involved in a car accident is frightening and overwhelming, but when the other driver flees the scene, the situation becomes that much more difficult and confusing. Hit and run accidents leave people not only injured, but often shaken and unsure of how they can recover damages when the responsible party is now nowhere to be found. But fortunately, there are options. If you've been hit and the person left the scene, you still can pursue some different recovery paths. In fact, Missouri law offers compensation even when the other driver can't be found. And understanding this process and taking the right steps can be critical to make sure you protect yourself physically, legally, and financially. So first off, what's considered a hit and run accident? A hit and run accident is, of course, when the driver involved in a collision leaves the scene without stopping to exchange information or offer assistance. This applies to collisions involving other vehicles, pedestrians or bicyclist injuries, and of course, property damage such as hitting a parked car or a fence. And under Missouri law, it's illegal to flee the scene. Unfortunately, these incidents are more common than you'd want to see. And some common reasons exist why people do leave the scene after an accident. Some of these reasons include they don't have insurance or they've got a suspended license. They may be driving under the influence. They may just be afraid of the criminal and civil consequences. Sometimes people just panic and drive off. And while none of these behaviors excuse them leaving the scene, it does help explain why sometimes they can be so common. There are some immediate steps, though, you can take if you're involved in a hit and run accident. And if you follow these steps, they can oftentimes protect your health and preserve your ability to recover damages. So first off, call 911 immediately. And if you need it, request medical attention as soon as possible. Also, stay at the scene and provide a statement to law enforcement when they arrive. Try to document as much information as possible. This may include things like what the other vehicle's make, model, and color is, if you can get their license plate, the location at the time of the accident, any witnesses' contact information, and of course, photos of your vehicle, any injuries in the traffic scene as well. Also, as soon as possible, seek medical treatment. If your injuries seem minor, a lot of times you may have some adrenaline pumping and you may not be aware of how injured you really are until some time passes. So make sure to get medical treatment to get yourself checked out. And then often you'll need to notify your insurance provider. There may be even language in your policy that says how soon you have to notify them. The more details you provide, the better the chance the authorities have in locating the driver, and really the stronger chance you have that an insurance claim can be successful. So the question often comes up is, well, can you recover damages if the other driver isn't found? And in Missouri, you can. Even if a hit and run driver isn't identified, you still may be able to recover compensation through your own policy. And this is usually through what's called an uninsured motorist coverage claim. And in Missouri, all insurance policies are required to have uninsured motorist coverage for bodily injury. And this coverage applies to situations where either the at-fault driver has no insurance or the at-fault driver can't be identified, such as a hit and run situation. This coverage can be really helpful in that it can pay for medical expenses, lost wages, and also pain and suffering. But you do have to do some things to access your coverage. First, you have to file a claim with your own insurance company. And you also need to provide documents of the accident, your injuries, and what efforts are made to identify the other driver. Your insurance company may and likely will treat the claim like a liability case. They might challenge the severity of injuries. They might critique the details of the crash. And so having detailed records and photographs are really important to strengthen your case. Even if the other driver leaves the scene, you may also have med pay coverage. And medical payments or med pay coverage is optional on your policy, but sometimes people have it. It's basically no fault medical coverage and can pay for some of the medical bills after you've gotten treatment. In addition, many people have full coverage or collision coverage. And so if the other driver's left the scene, you may still be able to get your vehicle repaired by your collision coverage to help fix the damage to the car. And like MedPay, it's optional. And so you'll want to check your policy to make sure you in fact have it in order to pursue using it. So questions come up as to what happens if the other driver is found later. If an officer or individual is found later, you still may be able to pursue a claim against their liability insurance if they have any. You may be entitled to additional compensation if their actions were reckless, especially if they're driving under the influence. And criminal charges can be filed if there's actions that constitute criminal conduct, such as leaving the scene. It's still, I get a good idea to move forward with your own claim under your own policy while that investigation is undergoing, because it can take some time to resolve an insurance claim. So just so you're aware, some damages you may be able to recover, and this depends on the coverage under your policy and the facts of the case, but you may be able to recover compensation for emergency room and hospital visits, follow-up care, physical therapy, surgery, prescription medication and medical equipment, lost wages or lost earning capacity, pain and suffering, property damage, and sometimes even transportation if you need to have uh, rental car coverage or other people drive you. Every case is, of course, unique, and your ability to cover damages on your specific case is going to be your case specific. So talking about the insurance company after a hit and run, working with your insurance company can be complex, especially when dealing with an uninsured motorist claim. Insurance adjusters do become sort of the adversarial party with you. They're going to request a recorded statement. They're going to ask for detailed medical records, and they may dispute the injuries or the claim amount. So while you may be entitled to compensation, insurance providers oftentimes do try to limit payouts. And so you got to be cautious when you're communicating with them, knowing that everything that you give them is oftentimes recorded and kept. It's also really important to act quickly. Missouri does have a statute of limitations for personally injury cases, and this includes hit and run cases. Generally, you do have 5 years. Sometimes if it's under your own policy, you may have a longer period of time. In addition to any insurance policies, the notice of claim may just be weeks after the accident that you need to notify your insurance company. So the sooner you report the accident, sometimes the stronger the case is going to be. In summation, I'll say this: hit and run accidents can leave you feeling hopeless, and sometimes they can leave you in a state of concern. If you've been injured in Kansas City by a driver who fled the scene, your own insurance may provide pathways to recover. With proper documentation, communication, and follow through, you can pursue compensation for your injuries and your losses. So if you or someone you know has been injured in a car wreck, we hope you keep us in mind.